The situation surrounding the Los Angeles Dodgers has taken on a very particular tone over the past few days, and it feels like the kind of moment where patience, confidence, and long-term vision are all colliding at once. While the rest of the league seems restless, throwing numbers around and leaking intentions, the Dodgers are moving in a much quieter, more calculated way. Everything points to a strategy that is less about desperation and more about leverage, less about chasing a name and more about reinforcing an already dominant structure. At the center of all this movement is Kyle Tucker, a player who naturally draws attention wherever he goes, but whose decision now feels less predictable than many expected. From the Dodgers' perspective, the most interesting part of this process is not the player himself, but the way the front office is choosing to engage. Rather than pushing aggressively with long commitments or headline-grabbing figures, the organization is leaning into a shorter-term vision that aligns with where they believe the roster already stands. There's a clear sense that the Dodgers view themselves as a finished product that can still be refined, not a flawed build that needs rescuing. That difference in mindset shapes every move they make and changes how a player like Tucker might evaluate his options. What makes this approach stand out even more is how it contrasts with the rest of the market. Other teams involved appear to be operating from a position of urgency, almost as if landing Tucker is essential to validating their entire offseason. For the Dodgers, that urgency simply does not exist. They are not selling hope or future potential. They are selling continuity, stability, and the reality of competing for a championship right now. That alone carries a weight that money cannot always replicate, especially for a player who is already established and thinking about legacy as much as compensation. There's also the matter of roster construction, which plays quietly but decisively into this conversation. The Dodgers know exactly what they have. They understand their strengths, their depth, and the flexibility that still exists within the lineup. Adding Tucker would clearly elevate the outfield, giving it more balance, more production, and more presence in high-pressure moments. But the key word there is add, not fix. The Dodgers are not approaching this as a team with a glaring weakness. They are approaching it as a team asking whether an already strong group can be pushed into an even higher tier. That confidence allows the organization to be selective. Instead of structuring an offer that reshapes the payroll or forces future compromises, they can afford to think shorter term, to think strategically about timing, fit, and opportunity. A shorter deal, even at a high annual value, keeps doors open. It preserves flexibility for future moves while still giving Tucker the chance to maximize his value in an environment built for success. In many ways, it becomes less of a gamble for both sides and more of a mutually beneficial alignment. Another factor that cannot be ignored is the competitive environment itself. Playing in Los Angeles means stepping into a system that is designed to support star players without asking them to carry everything alone. Lineup protection, pitching depth, and postseason experience all reduce pressure while increasing visibility. For a player like Tucker, that environment could translate into cleaner at-bats, better pitches to hit, and deeper playoff runs. Those elements matter when careers are evaluated years down the line, not just when contracts are signed. The Dodgers also understand that they do not need to rush this process. Time is not their enemy. Every day that passes without a decision reinforces the idea that they are comfortable with multiple outcomes. If Tucker chooses them, the roster becomes even more formidable. If he does not, the team remains fully capable of contending at the highest level. That calm posture sends a subtle but powerful message to everyone watching, including the player himself. As the window for a decision narrows, the contrast between approaches becomes sharper. Some teams appear to be waiting anxiously for an answer that could define their offseason. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are simply monitoring the landscape, ready to act if the terms align with their philosophy. They are not chasing headlines. They are trusting their position, their culture, and their track record. And in situations like this, that kind of confidence often speaks louder than any offer ever could. As the conversation continues to unfold, one thing becomes increasingly clear. The Dodgers are operating from a position that very few franchises ever truly reach. This is a team that does not feel compelled to oversell itself, because the product on the field already does the talking. That reality changes the entire dynamic of how a potential addition like Kyle Tucker is evaluated internally. Instead of asking how much he is worth in isolation, the Dodgers are asking how his presence would interact with everything that is already in place, from the lineup flow to the clubhouse rhythm to the long-term flexibility of the roster. When you look at the current structure of the Dodgers, the outfield discussion becomes more nuanced than a simple upgrade narrative. There are capable options already penciled in, players who can contribute offensively and defensively without destabilizing the balance of the team. The question, then, is not whether Tucker would help, because that answer is obvious. The real question is how much that help is worth when weighed against future adaptability. This is where the Dodgers' short-term focus becomes especially logical. They're not trying to buy certainty. They're trying to preserve optionality while still raising the ceiling. From Tucker's perspective, that pitch carries a unique appeal. A shorter commitment in Los Angeles does not limit earning potential. If anything, it can enhance it. Playing in a lineup that consistently produces runs, faces competitive pitching, and reaches the postseason creates an environment where individual performance is amplified. A strong stretch with the Dodgers could reset market expectations entirely, allowing Tucker to re-enter the market later with even more leverage. That possibility becomes part of the calculation, even if it is never stated publicly. There is also the psychological component of joining a team that expects to win rather than hopes to win. Every season in Los Angeles begins with championship expectations, not as a dream, but as a standard. That kind of atmosphere can sharpen focus and elevate preparation, especially for a player who has already proven himself but still wants to define his prime years. The Dodgers are not promising opportunity. They are offering a stage where opportunity already exists, night after night, deep into October. Meanwhile, the broader market continues to send signals that reinforce the Dodgers' restraint. Other teams appear willing to stretch beyond comfort in order to secure a headline name, even if it means compressing future flexibility or reshaping the roster around a single contract. That approach can work in certain contexts, but it also carries risk. The Dodgers have spent years avoiding those traps, choosing instead to build layers of depth that protect them against injury, regression, and variance. Bringing Tucker in only makes sense if it fits within that layered philosophy. What also stands out is how little noise the Dodgers are making throughout this process. There is no sense of panic, no urgency leaking into the public sphere. That silence is intentional. It reflects an organization that trusts its evaluation process and does not feel the need to sway opinion or manufacture momentum. In negotiations like this, silence can be a form of strength. It places the pressure elsewhere and allows the Dodgers to react rather than chase. As the decision window tightens, the implications extend beyond just one player. This moment serves as a broader statement about how the Dodgers view the current phase of their competitive cycle. They believe the foundation is strong enough to support either outcome. Adding Tucker would be a luxury, not a necessity. That distinction influences everything from contract structure to negotiation posture to internal expectations. It is a luxury that they are willing to pursue, but only on terms that make sense within the bigger picture. There is also an undercurrent of trust in player development and internal improvement. The Dodgers have long relied on their ability to extract value from within, turning solid contributors into impact performers through coaching, preparation, and analytics. That belief reduces the pressure to force an external move. It allows them to view Tucker as one of several paths forward rather than the only path. In a league where impatience often drives decisions, that level of confidence is rare. At the same time, the competitive hunger has not disappeared. The Dodgers are fully aware of what another championship would mean, both historically and culturally. Every move is filtered through that lens. The short-term structure being discussed is not about avoiding commitment. It is about aligning commitment with opportunity. It is about making sure that every dollar and every roster spot contributes directly to winning at the highest level without compromising the years that follow. As all of this continues to develop, the balance between ambition and discipline remains the defining theme. The Dodgers are not stepping away from the conversation. They're simply refusing to let the conversation dictate their identity. Whether Tucker ultimately chooses Los Angeles or not, the approach itself reinforces why the Dodgers remain one of the most respected and feared organizations in the sport. They are comfortable letting the process play out, confident that their position will remain strong regardless of the final decision. The closer this situation gets to a resolution, the more revealing it becomes about how the Dodgers see themselves in the broader landscape of the league. There is a quiet assurance in the way they are approaching this moment, a sense that they are not reacting to external pressure, but simply allowing events to unfold on their terms. That confidence does not come from optimism or speculation. It comes from years of sustained success, from knowing exactly what works within their system and what is not. For Kyle Tucker, that clarity can be both reassuring and challenging. Joining a team like the Dodgers means stepping into an environment where standards are already established and expectations are non-negotiable. There is no need for a savior, no narrative about changing the direction of the franchise. Instead, the challenge becomes how to elevate something that is already operating at a championship level. For certain players, that is the most appealing scenario possible because it allows performance to speak without the burden of carrying an entire organization. The Dodgers also understand that fit goes beyond numbers on a stat sheet. Chemistry, adaptability, and postseason temperament matter just as much as raw production. A shorter-term arrangement allows both sides to explore that fit organically, without locking into assumptions that may change over time. It creates a window where success can be shared and evaluated in real conditions, rather than projected years in advance. That flexibility is part of what keeps the Dodgers consistently ahead of the curve. Another layer to consider is how this potential move would resonate inside the clubhouse. The Dodgers have built a culture where roles are understood and competition is embraced, not feared. Adding a player like Tucker would intensify that competition in a healthy way, raising the overall standard rather than disrupting it. Because the foundation is already stable, the impact of a new star would likely feel additive rather than invasive, which is not always the case with high-profile acquisitions. As the final hours or days approach, the Dodgers' patience continues to shape the narrative. They are not issuing ultimatums or accelerating timelines. They are letting the value of their environment stand on its own. That approach subtly shifts the decision back to the player, asking him to weigh not just financial terms, but context, trajectory, and long-term positioning within the league. It becomes a holistic choice rather than a purely transactional one. At the same time, the organization remains prepared for multiple outcomes. Contingency planning has always been a strength in Los Angeles, and this situation is no different. The front office is already looking beyond a single decision, aware that the market will continue to evolve and that opportunities rarely disappear entirely. This ability to think 2 or 3 moves ahead reduces the emotional weight of any one negotiation and keeps the broader strategy intact. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Mike Trout, widely regarded as one of the greatest baseball players of his generation, has reportedly shed light on why he opted against joining the Los Angeles Dodgers, sparking a wave of speculation across MLB circles. According to recent statements, Trout hinted that financial considerations played a decisive role in his decision, suggesting that the Dodgers' offer did not meet his expectations. "That's why I didn't go to the Dodgers," Trout reportedly said, emphasizing the discrepancy in salary as a key factor. While he didn't provide exact figures, the comment has ignited a flurry of discussion among fans, analysts, and insiders about the state of contract negotiations for even the sport's elite talents. The rumor comes at a time when the Dodgers are actively seeking to bolster their roster with marquee players, and Trout's comments have inevitably fueled debates about how far teams are willing to go financially to secure top-tier talent. While Los Angeles has long been seen as a prime destination for superstars, the speculation now raises questions about the Dodgers' current approach to player acquisition and their willingness to meet market expectations. Some insiders suggest that Trout's choice may also reflect broader trends in athlete leverage, where established stars weigh not only financial incentives, but also organizational fit, long-term stability, and legacy considerations. Despite the rumors, the baseball world is abuzz with curiosity about Trout's next move. Analysts are dissecting potential landing spots, with every team's payroll and championship window suddenly under scrutiny. Could this signal a shift in the balance of power in MLB, where financial prudence trumps superstar allure? Or is it simply a negotiating tactic aimed at maximizing future opportunities? Regardless, Trout's candid admission about salary has undeniably added fuel to the speculation, leaving fans and executives alike on edge. As the story unfolds, one thing remains clear. Any decision involving a player of Trout's caliber will have ripple effects across the league, and the Dodgers' inability to close the deal only adds layers to an already intriguing saga. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.